used to think becoming a better photographer was all about finding your perfect camera or learning some secret editing technique. But the truth is, it's a lot less dramatic than that. In reality, getting better at photography isn't just showing up once a month or on some big shoot. It's about improving in small, little incremental ways that start to add up over time. And so that's what today's video is all about. I'm going to share with you the small habits that I do that have added up over time to help me improve as a photographer. The first small habit that I want to share with you is all about changing your perspective. See, as photographers, when we arrive at a new location, we might just shoot at eye level or what we see, but I've always found it really useful to somehow change my perspective in every location I photograph. This can be crouching, kneeling, finding higher ground, whatever it is, anything to change the shots at eye level really makes for better looking pictures. The best example is here at this bar I found. I've already arrived and taken a handful of photos inside, but I'm going to go look around to see if there are any other ways I can get some different perspective. By only shooting at eye level all the time, your photos are going to become a little bit boring and you're not really going to be able to photograph a place in its entirety. And so here, right above, we've totally changed the perspective of this bar. We've got the umbrellas here, we've also got the lights, all the people. Now this is totally different to the shots I was getting before. By simply coming up to this location, I've already maximized the amount and variety of photos I'm capturing. Even this is a composition that I wouldn't have seen before if I hadn't come up here. For those wondering, a lot of the photos taken today will be on the XF 35mm and 23mm. And just quickly before we move on to the next habit, this doesn't mean you always need to go far away. Changing your perspective also means zooming in, getting up close and capturing those details. Essentially, what we're doing with this habit is we are maximizing the variety of shots we can get in one location. Okay, so the next photography habit that I want to talk to you about is all about creating depth in your shots. See, a photo that has depth in it will instantly make it interesting. And what I mean by depth is creating layers in your frame. So just taking a standalone landscape or a standalone portrait can look a little boring to your viewers. So adding different elements in the foreground and the midground to really build out an image is a small habit that can really improve your photos. The best way I can show you this is with an example I am seeing right now. As you can see in this shot here, we've got a beautiful looking landscape with the Sagrada Familia in the far right, and then also a few buildings in between. What I could do is I could technically zoom in and make the Sagrada the full subject, but instead what I'm going to do to make this image a little more interesting is add a lot of elements to the foreground. You probably can't see this because this is so bright, but by adding different elements in front of our main subject, we're going to create a much deeper and more interesting looking image. And these little bits of depth don't need to be anything crazy. It could be a leaf. It could be like we're using here, like a balcony essentially. All I'm saying though is that by adding different elements into your frame, you're going to invite your viewer in and create more of a story. Okay guys, I always pick the hottest days to do these, but what I wanted to say about layering before we move on is that it is going to be easier with a tighter lens. Personally, I find layering and creating depth with a wider lens to be quite difficult. It's not impossible and I still do it quite a lot, but if you have a tighter lens, even a zoom lens, creating those layers may be a lot easier. The reason for this is that you can't always move to create that depth and fill a frame as you would like. So by using a zoom lens on these occasions, you are going to thank yourself. Okay, so the next habit that I want to talk to you about is lighting, in particular back and side lighting. As you can see in this scene, the sun is behind me. What I look for is backlighting and side lighting. Any lighting that comes right up front is very harsh and not very flattering, and it doesn't look too cinematic. By always putting your subjects in front of the light and letting the light hit them from the back, you're going to get a lot more cooler, more interesting looking shots. Right here is probably the best example of a side light backlight situation. As you can see, the light is hitting the top of the building and kind of streaking through. You can also see the shadows here on the ground. And so that's why I'm on this side of the building. The sun's over there. So if I went to the steps at the very front, this would be a totally different shot. Obviously, I'd have a different composition of the building, but the fact that it's side and backlit, I get a much more interesting looking shot. Right now I'm walking to the other side so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And right now you can even see the light on my face. But when I flip it around, you can see that the lighting is totally different on this side of the building. And that's because this is in direct sunlight. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with direct sunlight. I spoke about it in a few videos ago, but when I'm taking my travel photos, the majority are in nicer backlit, soft lit lighting. Okay guys, another habit, wait for it, there it is. Another habit that I really focus on when it comes to my photography is looking for color. It's been a little bit difficult today, but I'll show you a few images right now that you can see where I've really looked for color in my compositions. When I'm talking about looking for color, what I'm saying is being intentional and using color as a compositional technique. So instead of just colors being in your frame really randomly, being intentional about what colors you include or actually how you create photographs based on the colors that you're seeing. Things like complementary colors or colors of the same tone, even colors that make things stick out. These are just little ways that 90% of photographers aren't adding to their work. So by consistently looking for color, including it, it's just another compositional technique and another way you can improve your work. But again, these are just ways that I am improving as a photographer and I want to share them with you. Also, a few little habits that I use with my camera that I thought I would share really quickly. I've spoken about this a lot in a few other videos, but I would always shoot photos like this in aperture priority. If I'm on a shoot, it'll be in manual because I want that full control. But for street travel, aperture priority is the best because I get to control one setting and the camera handles the rest. The way I do this is using a auto ISO feature as well. So this brackets my ISO into auto 1, auto 2, and auto 3. Auto 3 is for really low light situations and my camera sits in auto 1 majority of the time. I keep all my critical essential settings in the My Menu setup, so just clicking the menu button will pop them up instantly. I think the goal when I'm out shooting on days like this is effortless photography. I don't really want to be thinking about my equipment. I think it's pretty funny that I have ended up here again at the end of a YouTube video, but I wanted to share with you one more habit that I think is going to improve your photography journey. See, photography, like any skill, is going to take an enormous amount of time to get good at. So I think the best habit you can have as a photographer is to essentially go out and shoot as much as you can, even when you're not really feeling like it. Today is a good example of that for me. I don't feel my best. I am exhausted. It is super hot, but prioritizing and making time to go out and shoot, even when you're not feeling like it, is a habit that is really going to set you apart from a lot of photographers. But in saying that, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're wondering which video to watch next, I would recommend this one. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.